Hello, welcome to the Porsche Centre Portsmouth. My name's Stuart, I'm one of the technicians here, and today in this video I'd like to show you how to replace the batteries in your VTS driver cards. So we have two types here, and I'll just like to show you how to replace the battery in each. Starting with this driver card, to determine if you need a battery replacement, there is an indicator light. If you press and hold the button on the driver card, the light should illuminate continuously while the button is being pressed. If I press the button on this driver card, you will see the LED lights once and then goes out, and this indicates that the battery needs replacement. So to replace the battery, you're going to need to open the two halves of the driver card here. You'll need a trim tool similar to this one, which may be found in the toolkit in your car, but if not, any plastic wedge trim tool will work. And you are going to need to insert the trim tool in between the two halves of the driver card along the seam and work around evenly until the two halves separate, and then you'll be able to access the battery inside. So I'm going to demonstrate that now. So we're just going to gently prise in between the two halves of the driver card, and you'll start to hear it separate and see. Now, what you don't want to do is work on one side until it's completely released, because it will make it difficult to then release the driver card at the other side. So as I said, we're going to work all the way around, releasing as we go. And this can be a little bit fiddly. And once we've released all the way around, you should be able to then prise the driver card apart. And there we go, revealing the electronics inside. Now, be careful to note the orientation of the battery, as it will need to go back in the same orientation. So if I have all of the electronics on the circuit board facing me, then I have the negative side of the battery facing me as well. So once I've removed the battery and then installed the new one in the correct orientation with the negative side facing me. If you're unsure, the positive side of the battery is stamped on the positive side, and so the negative is opposite, and then we'll insert that as we remove the old one. And then to reassemble the battery, you're going to want the half of the case without the button, and you're going to insert the electronics facing upwards in this half. And then with the remaining half of the driver card, you want to align the four locating pegs, one at each corner, with the four holes in this half of the driver card before pressing together. If you don't get those lined up, then when you come to press the driver card together, it's not going to reassemble correctly. So once we're happy that those are all lined up, we can just press the driver card together until that is fully reassembled. And then as a test, when I press and hold the button, the light will illuminate continuously all the while that button is pressed. To replace the battery in this style of driver card, we need to separate the two halves to access the battery cover. So you'll see there's a seam running around the driver card here. We just need to grasp both halves and then pull that apart to reveal the battery cover inside. This is just released by gently prising the cover away. You can achieve this by hand as well, but I've got the trim tool here just to assist. And then that releases the battery cover, which can be just put to one side. And then the battery, as you can see, the positive side is facing us. So when we fit the new battery, we must make sure that the positive side is facing us again. So to replace the battery, I'm going to just slide my trim tool in between the battery and the housing, and then just gently prise that away. Again, you can achieve this by hand, but it can be a little bit fiddly without the trim tool, so I'd recommend one of those if you have one to hand. And then, so I've removed the battery now. As I said, make sure that the positive is facing us, and that just presses back into the housing there. The cover we just insert the tab into that half of the driver card and then just click that back together again there, and then reassemble the two halves of the driver card. So we can see there's the printed grooves that line up on this side. Obviously if I turn that around, then that's not going to work. So we'll just make sure those grooves are lined up and then just pop the driver card back together.